part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Looking for this Cavalier to finish his third quarter strong. But Getty off that down screen. Watch Ricky Davis. Explosion with a little flavor on the end of it.
And here comes Davis. Well, there's some energy on the reverse.
Former Cincinnati Bearcat Kenny Satterfield turned it over, and Ricky Davis will bring some flavor to that. A little spicy for Ricky, huh? As he elevated and pounded it down.
Davis with a rip away. He'll run with Palazzo. Ricky to the hole with explosion. And one coming from the line.
I think he jumped over Steve Nash. With Nash trying to step in there and take the charge. We got to see this again.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for stopping by to the latest edition of Sabol Brothers on the Baseline Podcast, right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm John Sabol.
And I'm your other host, Scott Sabol.
Thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts. Really helps the algorithm. You get all the latest episodes directly to your smartphone device or tablet. Follow us on Twitter at Sabol Brothers, and then follow yours truly at John_Sabol.
And you can follow me on Twitter as well, or X at Scott Sabol FOX8. And you can follow me on Instagram at Scott Sabol Pics, my name, and then PICS.
So we got the social media accounts out of the way, Scott. This is going to be a really cool guest here as the NBA playoffs are about to begin. Mm-hmm. You remember him.
Absolutely.
And I remember watching him in high school for those 3 years that he was in Cleveland. A 12-year NBA vet, 3 of those coming in Cleveland. He played 4 leagues overseas in Turkey, France, China, Puerto Rico, 2 years in the G League towards the end of his professional career. Played Division I hoops at Iowa. Of course, I'm sure he was loving seeing the Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark in the national title game last week, which happened to be here in Cleveland. He is a guy that was tremendous in the transitional phase from some of those bad Cavs teams to that new era of Cavs teams with LeBron James, and we'll get all of that in momentarily. But we want to welcome our guest, former Cavalier, Ricky Davis.
Hey, man, appreciate it, John, Scott. Thanks so much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
Ricky, I know you and I have been talking the last few weeks, and I kind of have gotten a little background on what you're up to now. But for our listeners out there, what are you up to these days?
Right now, coaching high school basketball here in the Minneapolis area, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Head high school basketball coach at Minneapolis North. This will be my second year here. So that's what I've been doing now, running my foundation. Been running my foundation now heavily for about 15 years, attacking underserved youth and communities and in the food desert areas, working with food initiatives and different things like that. So that's what I've been doing lately. And of course, working with my kids, keeping me busy every day.
Yeah, you're a father of what? I think he's told me on the phone, 6?
Yep, 6. 5 boys and 1 girl.
Keeping you busy.
Yeah.
What are the ages, by the way?
20, 18, 17, 11, 9, and 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
My brother and I, by the way, are one of 5, and I'm the oldest, and my brother's 12 years younger than me with 3 sisters in the middle. Not quite the big age range of your kids, but I see where you're coming from.
Yes, absolutely. Started over there again and just kept it going. So it's great. It's a blessing to have them.
Ricky, it's keeping you young, man. You look great.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Trying to stay young, trying to stay healthy, man. I see these guys, some of these guys, that we play with, and some of them don't look too good. So, just got to stay healthy.
So how much do you follow the NBA right now?
I follow it a lot. I've been watching it, watched the games last night, so I watch it quite a bit.
Is it difficult for you to make the transition when you're watching 2024 NBA versus the NBA that you played in 15, 20 years ago? It's a different kind of game when you watch it. Is it hard for you, or is it something that you've been able to transition to?
It's a little hard, a little bit, as you're watching it and, seeing how it's evolved a lot. But just being around it a lot, watching it a lot, working out with my older son and being a part of these AAU programs and different kind of things. I'm used to it. Being aware of the analytics, how it took to take it over the game, with different workouts and different practice protocols. So I'm up on it. I don't like it, because it's kind of positionless and everybody's kind of just running all over the place and don't really have any direction, like we used to. But it's definitely evolved.
How was it for you playing overseas, back then, going from the NBA to overseas? Talk about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a transition, um, from on the court to off the court. Off the court it was tough learning the culture, the language, the food barrier in China and different places. Those are the things you got to deal with off the court. But on the court, it's different. It's a little more rougher over there. The guys play a little tougher. Not as many calls. They don't have the celebrity superstar calls over there. It's straight basketball. You had to learn the different games, moving and traveling, and it was a different transition trying to get used to it at first.
Did you have a favorite country to play in? I looked at Turkey, France, China, Puerto Rico, right? Did I miss any?
Yeah, yeah, no, that was it. Yep. No, I think France and probably Turkey was by far the best.
My brother-in-law played professional basketball in Greece for a few years. He actually played with Giannis's older brother.
Mm,
Um, and he's now here in the States, lives here in Cleveland.
uh-huh.
Obviously a big Giannis fan. Now he's also now living in Cleveland. He can't help but be a Cavs fan as well, but also still roots for the Bucks. And he would always tell me when we watch games, he's like, man, the European style of the game has now shifted more in the league slowly with the influx of all these guys. Yes, the game has changed with more three-point shooting and maybe, the loss of the offensive systems. It's kind of just run and gun. The way you say, you don't like it, but the European style, I think, may now start to balance that out a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The flow of movement, guys moving every position. I think it's a lot of European style of play. I think more or less guys are able to move and pass and dribble. I think that's the reason why the game's changed and look European because everybody overseas can shoot, pass, and dribble. So now over in America's and the NBA is doing it now, so it looks European.
Do you think the NBA right now, even with that style and with LeBron getting older, and we'll talk about him in a moment, and Steph Curry, the two faces of the league for the last 10 years, the NBA, I believe, in a marketing standpoint in the States is at a massive disadvantage now because, the top seven players in the league aren't Americans. They're Europeans.
Right.
And Adam Silver's got a little tough task on his hand.
Yeah. I think he has a tough task at hand, but at the same time, it's like a double-edged sword, I guess. The Americans and we don't like the Europeans coming in taking the fame, but at the same time, it boosts the salary cap. When you have these Europeans, getting drafted, it's they have the fan base of a whole country on their backs, opposed to 100,000 or thousand fans that the local domestic players have. I think so. Drafting these players, European, I think it helps, build the NBA worldwide. It boosts the salary cap, but at the same time, players don't like it. So it's kind of think it's like a double-edged sword. But I think it's good that we're bringing different players in that around the world, because it's a lot of good players out there.
When you talk about like you're coaching high school basketball now and you're giving back to the community, when you're teaching these kids, do they see that style difference, or do you just kind of go back to the way you were taught, X's and O's and things to that nature?
Yeah, they see it. I kind of, put both of them in there. Teaching a lot of fundamentals, a lot of tactical stuff, teaching the kids just basically how to, a lot of fundamentals, how to dribble, how to pass. And I think once you start trying to put in, different kind of tactical stuff, strategies, I think it helps when kids, can be able to dribble and make those passes. I think it helps with the X's and O's. So you kind of got to do both in high school. You got to teach, the new game and develop, the way the game's played, and also had that discipline of, how we grew up and how we played the game.
Do you find with the game changing and the game and the popularity that your love for the game is still the same way it was, but it's a little bit different now as a player or as a high school coach? Like your love for the game is still the same no matter what, but it's leveled different now as a coach.
Yeah, it's still the same. I think with a coach, it's even more. Because we're putting in more hours and more hours, as a coach than as a player. Watching film, breaking down film, and having meetings and all these things before practice even starts. So, I think the love, builds even more as you get older, especially because you can't play it. So you're watching it more, you're trying to teach it more and learn every day. So the love is still there.
We were talking about just a second ago the how the NBA has become kind of a global sport, and it's kind of started in the early mid '90s. So we're talking more than 30 years ago now. And I remember when Tony Kukoc came into the league. So I know I'm dating myself here, but that was a big deal. I mean, and he was just one player, right, with the Bulls back in '93, '94, and now it just happens so often you don't even think about it.
Scott,
Right.
Same thing for Drazen Petrovic.
Drazen Petrovic. Yes, I remember him. Yes. Well, didn't he play for the Nets? Correct.
Absolutely. I think like you said, it was a big deal when guys came over, but those guys were great. Those guys were good. But like you said, it was, I don't think the NBA was ready for it, with the TV deals and the streaming that they have. I think it's a great idea to keep building.
What about the thoughts on the Cavs series with the Magic? All right, we're now heading into the playoffs. Do you have any concerns looking at this? Any predictions? Have you given it any thought?
Not really. They're playing good ball. I think they just got to go in and play their game. The Orlando Magic's young and still kind of developing. I think so. I think the experience, with the Cavs, I think, to take them over the top. Just kind of be looking towards the second round. I know you don't want to look ahead too fast, but I think if they just come out and play their game, I think they'll be okay.
You say you follow the NBA. Do you follow any particular team anymore, or do you find yourself maybe rooting for the teams you played for?
Yeah, most of the time just rooting for the teams I played for. Still got friends in the league that's coaching now, so just kind of jumping team to team. It's pretty much whatever free time I have, that's kind of what games I'm watching that night. But been really focused on watching the Wolves here lately. Just because they're home. I'm alumni, I go there all the time and watch practices and join in, trying to learn some stuff. So those guys are doing really well.
You played for the Timberwolves for 2 years, 05 to 07, towards your end of your NBA career. That and as we're here on Zoom, you're right above your head as a Timberwolves jersey. Was that a game-worn jersey that you wore?
Yeah. They're all game-worn jerseys.
Nice.
Jerseys. I have a whole bunch of them on the walls and a few back home in Texas. So,
do you still have all your Cavs gear?
Yeah, what you mean, like practice gear and all that stuff?
Yeah, like jerseys, shorts.
A little bit. Some of my brothers and cousins, mothers stole all that stuff, and take your shooting shirts and jerseys, and so it's some stuff still floating around for sure. I try to.
My brother's a big jersey guy, and remember, John, it was last year we were talking to Larry Doby's son, and Larry Doby, he played for the Indians back in the 40s, early 50s, and his son. We asked him, "Did you play with any of your your dad's jerseys?" And he was just talking about how what was it, John? Did he have a few of them?
He had a
And
few, but back in those days, Ricky, they didn't have jerseys every day. They had to recycle
yeah,
them for the next year. So
right.
when the Indians won the World Series in 1948, Larry Doby got to keep that jersey.
That's what it was.
And I think there was another one that he has. I think he donated one to the Hall of Fame. But
Yes.
we had Mark Price on the podcast a couple years ago, and I talk to Mark every once in a while, Ricky, and he says his wife has kept all of his gear, like
Yeah.
from the shorts to the jerseys, some of the warm-up
Yes.
gear.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. She's definitely got every team upstairs for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you root for the Wolves. You're home. You're in Minnesota there. In terms of the Cavs, did you get to watch a lot of Cavs games this year at all?
I didn't get to watch a lot of them, just because of timing and me
Mm-hmm.
being so busy and running around. Didn't get to watch a lot of games, but definitely get to watch. I got to watch them a little bit.
Are you aware of some of the concerns going into the series that fans have with this Cavs team kind of limping through, just inconsistent plays and basically the injuries that have hit them in the last month?
Right. No, I know about the injuries a little bit, but didn't know about how the fans were getting on them.
Yeah, it's mostly just because they could have moved up in the playoff seeding had they not tanked in the last fourth quarter of the regular season game. And Donovan Mitchell had been hurt, and a couple other guys have been nursing injuries. So it's like you don't know what you're going to get with this Cavs team. Although a lot of the media members, me included here, are picking them to win against the Magic. But when you see Donovan Mitchell's game, let's talk about him for a little bit. What do you see in his style and his leadership and just your friends that are coaches in the league right now? What do they say about him?
Well, I mean, I love his game. He kind of reminds me of like a young Flash,
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Wade. I kind of get those glimpses of him as I watch him, but I love him. I hope he gets healthy and gets healthy, but it's tough sometimes when you're going through those injuries and the team's injured and guys are looking like they can play, but I know sometimes people think we're Superman, but it's tough when those injuries, hit that team and, you try to get that rhythm back. But I definitely see flashes of D Wade in him.
Do you think he resigns with the Cavs when his contract's up?
I would if I was the Cavs for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I definitely would re-sign him and just keep building around him.
Would you think Donovan would resign? I mean, I know not to say you've talked with him, but if you're Donovan, would you resign?
Yeah, I would. With the history and coming off of the seasons, that he's have just kind of building and building and building. I think it would be strategic to keep building. I'm still one of those old school guys that like to, stick it out and just kind of build your team and build your legacy. I think that's what it's all about, um, jumping team to team even though you're good, you never really get to build your legacy. So that was kind of something that I dealt with looking back at my career, jumping team to team to team to team, trying to chase that ring or just trying to find the right fit for myself, but not being able to stick in one program or one franchise long enough to build that legacy. So I think he should stay. I think he should resign and just keep going.
Yeah, he's up for a contract extension for the max, I believe, this summer. And that there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are all prognosticating if the Cavs lose after the first round, would he stay? Would they fire JB Bickerstaff? What do they do? Do they move other pieces? So a lot of off-season forecasting of roster
Mm-hmm.
decisions and staff decisions are kind of hinged on where they go in the playoffs. I think they got to get past the first round in Orlando. Anything out of Orlando that you see that could potentially be a challenge for the Cavaliers?
Just I think if the Cavaliers can just limit their mistakes. I think Orlando's a young gunning team, and they thrive off mistakes. They thrive off turnovers, and if you can kind of keep them at bay, I think their half court game is not as good as their up and down game. So I think if you could just get quality shots, take care of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
keep the ball in Donovan's hand a lot, to make those quality plays, I think he slows them down and just kind of beat them up a little bit.
You got a prediction for the series?
Uh, Probably, yeah, no, not really. 3-2.
Or 4-2. I guess now it's best of 7 these days.
I think in 4-2.
Cavs?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I think a lot of Cavs fans would like you just earn more trust with and more fandom with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They got to do it. But even if it goes bad, I think they just keep building. A lot of franchises trying to fire people and put people in, but I mean, who are you going to replace Bickerstaff with? I mean, he's the greatest guy. I mean, he's a legend. I mean, so I think you just keep building.
I feel like he's really well respected in the coaching circles, especially with his dad being there, Bernie, being in the league and JB working his way up. And, fans and media, I'll be honest, they're impatient. We could be impatient at times.
Right. I get it. They want to win. So they're impatient too. We're the top tier of players and athletes in the world. So they're going home getting better every day. So, but I think JB and them guys are great.
Any finals predictions?
No, I was trying to think of that yesterday. Me and my son were thinking about it. I'm liking Boston. Boston's looking really good, but you never know. You never know. You never know these days. It's just you never know. Some teams can come from the tournament play in and beat some of these guys. And the West is just so scary. Always scared of Golden State. Of course, they got beat last night, but always scared of the Lakers and Denver. And it's just I love OKC, but this experience I think kind of plays a key there.
Yeah, they snuck up on everyone this year, I think, just taking that big leap, but also sneaking into that 1 seed in the West.
Right. They snuck in there quick and nobody expected it. And I think that's wasn't any pressure on them. So they're good though. They're good. Shay's carrying that team. I think, like you were speaking about LeBron and Steph stepping down, these guys are stepping up. Coming in and bringing that new thing, the new leadership and the new stars of the league.
I definitely have Boston in the East going, and Denver for sure could be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix, if they get healthy enough with Durant and Beal and Booker to make a run at it as well. They've only played like a quarter of the games together this year with all those injuries in Phoenix, which is crazy to think about. The same thing with Milwaukee, and Giannis is out for the first round.
Right. Yep. And that's scary. So we'll see how that looks for them, what they're going through. So, but I still don't want to underestimate the Wolves either.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tyrus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tyvis, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of The Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
For the last few months, we partnered up with an Ohio-based company down in Columbus. It's called Homage. You probably have heard of this company or wearing some of their clothing. I know they sent us some shirts recently, Scott. I got a Cavaliers old school shirt in the old 70s script.
Right, now I got a Cleveland Indians shirt or a Cleveland baseball shirt with the old script C, from back like old school, like 40s, 50s, early 60s. And man, does that thing fits great. Sometimes t-shirts don't fit right. This one fits great.
Yeah, you're pretty particular about how your shirts fit.
Yeah, I don't want it too baggy. Don't want it too tight. I want it just right so I can do a lot of things around the house and work out with it and what have you. And it's great material as well.
Yeah, it's soft on your delicate skin. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, they also have great Ohio State gear, Browns gear, any MAC schools that you or your kids or you're an alum of. Great partnership there. All you need to do is go to our show notes wherever you're listening to the podcast and click on the link that we've provided there. And that is your open door to all great Homage gear. and you'll like it. We love it and continue to. So we appreciate their partnership.
What's up, everyone? Chase Smith here, host of the Chase Smith Podcast, and my podcast reflects who I am. My hobbies, my interests, my passions, my curiosities, my careers, my questions, and my family. I'll spend time talking about all types of sports, movies, TV shows, trending news stories, and other cultural events, and even faith. This is who I am, and I hope I can get to know you as well. Join me on the Chase Smith Podcast, and let's have some thought-provoking conversations, only on the Press Play Podcast Network.
21 years ago, 2003, I mean, you played some games with LeBron. Even back then, first off, did you think you'd be this good? And secondly, did you think he'd still be playing more than 20 years later? That's unheard of.
Yeah, well, man, no, definitely didn't think he would be playing that long. But we knew he was going to be good. I think it was just a matter of, staying healthy. I really take my hat off to him with the way he handled the pressure. I think was the big thing. It's a lot of superstars that come out, but not a lot of attention and not a lot of pressure as he had. So he handled the pressure really well, stayed healthy, and had an amazing career.
When you watched him, I remember reading a quote somewhere that your second year with the Cavs, which would have been LeBron's senior year in high school, you guys, I think Carlos Boozer was with you there, Darius Miles, you guys would go to his high school games, just like we did here.
Right.
I mean, LeBron's a year older than me, and we would go to his games. When you saw him as a professional with the Cavs and watching him and not knowing where he was going to go in the NBA, were you like, wow, that guy's legit? Because there was always some concern, some doubts. I mean, even Carlos Boozer, I believe, had some quotes at one point in time saying that, you think a high school kid could come in here and take over, and that's just not the case or whatever. So I think it was Boozer that may have said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was, when I was watching him, I seen glimpses of greatness, with his body, his size, and his IQ, in high school, because I came in the era where guys were coming out of high school, and they weren't as big as him. They weren't as smart as him. So, I knew it was possible. I knew it would be a good look, because I came out where everybody came out, high school. I even thought about coming out of high school my first year, went to college that one year. So I definitely knew he would be great. I think, where people kind of get it messed up with Boozer and D Miles and those comments were, there isn't a rookie that ever came in and won a championship. I think that's what it might have came out the wrong way, but I think that's, where Boozer and D Miles were saying, we have a great team now and there's no one going to come in and win a championship now was the thing. So, and I think it just got turned out the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But kid was great.
How was he as a rookie with you guys? I mean, we saw from the surface, but how was it playing with him? How was his demeanor?
Oh, yeah.
How was his?
It was good. He was young. He was young and full of life. Energetic, cool guy. It was great. He was our rookie. So he was still carrying our bags and bringing donuts, and and he never fought it. He was up to the challenge. He was up to it. He enjoyed it, and man, he was a good guy.
Do you still talk to him at all?
Not really. A little bit here and there when I see him, but not really.
Do you have a funny or favorite LeBron story from that first year with him? Because you only played, I think, 22 games with him, right?
Yeah. We played 22 games, and I went over there, headed on to Boston.
Any good stories that we may not know?
Nothing really too funny. I wasn't really there too long to kind of get the funny things that were going on. So nothing really, no funny story.
Well, we always ask everybody this, and it's been a question that's been asked a million times. Well, but we might as well ask you. You're kind of from our too, so so maybe you'll give a different perspective on versus some of the players nowadays. Who's the GOAT? LeBron, Jordan? Do you ever think about that? What's your thoughts?
Absolutely, my GOAT is Jordan. And my second GOAT is, if there's a second, Kobe and then LeBron. Just Jordan was the guy that just he was just amazing. Offense, defense, and just he took over the games. He wanted the ball, he wanted the last shot. It was just something different. But and Kobe was basically a carbon copy of Mike. Um, so he wasn't as efficient as Mike, but carbon copy of him. And I think LeBron comes in third with me. Um, I think he's the best player statistically in the world, of course. But for me, my GOAT is if I have those three guys and it's the last second shot, I'm giving it to Jordan. And for me to give the last player that shot, he's got to be my best player. So that's kind of my analogy of it.
It seems like it's real difficult to nowadays because, again, you don't have a necessarily one position like you did back then. The analytics have taken over, and like we talked about earlier, it seems like it would be very difficult to have a player like a Michael Jordan in this type of basketball that we have now. Do you think that's the case? Could somebody be that guy to take over a game and be the most feared person in the NBA? Or has everything been spread out so much that it's hard for that to happen?
Yeah, it could be. It could be somebody could do it, but I don't think no one could ever do it like that. I mean, from going to play 18 rounds of golf in the morning to a playoff game at night, it's just unheard of. And I understand the younger heirs, see LeBron with the social media and the TV and the league passes. They see him here. They never really seen Jordan. So people who played in that era and played in that era, I think definitely go with the GOAT with Michael Jordan.
I think there's really no right or wrong answer here because there's no way to prove it, right? That's the aura of hypotheticals, right? It's just the world we live in.
Right.
I think the biggest thing people have a hard time trying to understand is the championships. Is Jordan never lost one, and he never switched teams. Granted, the eras were a lot different then. I could argue that LeBron's finals opponents were tougher than some of Jordan's, or if you played one-on-one, who would win? Like the size of LeBron versus Kobe or Jordan. I mean, like there's so many different ways of doing it, and we could just everybody as a society and a fan base just talk our way into circles, and
Right.
I know Jordan thinks he's still the best, and I think LeBron thinks he's the best, and
Right.
Kobe I think may have defaulted to Jordan, but it's a fun topic, and we'll never know.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. And it's opinion based, like you said, you can never know. I mean, statistically, but if you want to go, it depends on what category. I mean, if you want to go scoring and game-winning shots and clutch shots, or do you want to go games with passing and statistics? And, it just depends on how you want to skin the cat, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory from playing with the Cavs?
Favorite memory? Not really. Not really. I think the most part that sticks out with the Cavs was probably that losing season. That was just one of the hardest seasons ever in my career. To be able to play all 82 games and still go out and produce and be a professional, and but the camaraderie of the team and the coach John Lucas, we kind of made it fun. So that's kind of my memory when I think about the fun memories. It's a bad memory, but at the same time, that was probably one of the funnest times that I had with the Cavs. But it was a bad situation, right?
Ricky, it's crazy. You played 12 years in the league, 6 different teams, but fans probably don't realize the majority of your NBA career in terms of the teams you played for were the Cavs. You played 183 games with the Cavs. The next one was 181 with Boston, and you had some of your best seasons as an NBA player with the Cavaliers in that short 3.5 years stretch.
Right. Absolutely. And like I said, that, to kind of talk about what I was talking about earlier, just, leaving and joining different teams and, trying to chase that ring and do different things. I probably should have stayed there and, built my legacy there and kept it going.
But it's not that you left. They traded you to Boston, didn't they not? Is that right?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to trade. I demanded a trade out of there,
Mhm.
to go right to Boston and, play behind Paul Pierce and play with Paul and, see what we can do on that side.
So when you demanded your trade, did you say Boston and they granted it, or you just said a trade?
Yeah, well, just start working with my agent. Agent started calling around, seeing who was interested. Boston was always interested, before I went to the Cavs. So we just kind of rekindled that. The agents kind of have relationships with different teams, and that's how we came about that.
That was nice. The Cavs actually granted it and gave you the team that you wanted. Nowadays, it's even harder for players to do that.
Right, it's hard. Yeah, it's very hard. But sometimes when it matches up, and it's better for sometimes the guy to get out of there rather than just keeping them there and being miserable. So better for both sides.
I know a lot of Cavs fans always go to, they look at those bad teams and then they see who you guys played with, and then the last year, 22 games with LeBron. But, unfortunately, a lot of the Cavs fans kind of remember you from the infamous triple-double incident.
I missed the play. Was that a rebound for Ricky? I was looking. He tried to get himself a rebound.
He needed a rebound for a triple-double.
Well, they lobbed it inside. He goes in, hit it off the rim and grabbed it. Yeah.
And Deshaun Stevenson takes offense to that. You can see here, just tries to throw it off the glass and get his own rebound, see what happens, but nothing happened to Deshaun.
I mean, you don't shy away from talking about that now, I understand. But walk us through that and what you've learned from that experience as a player of that game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big story on that. It sticks with me for a while, but, it was, I teach my kids, to be in the moment, but don't do nothing, that'll jeopardize your career, in that moment. So be smart. So I kind of use it as a teaching point, because something can, something so quick, so fast could stick, for the rest of your career. So, and even off the court, you could do something off the court that could jeopardize your scholarship or something like that. So, but the triple-double, it was, I was having a great year that year. I was probably 5 games away from a triple-double. So that was the 5th game where I was either 1 assist or 1 rebound away from a triple-double. And it was about 5 minutes left, and somebody yelled out, "Rick, you need 1 more rebound." And I was like, oh, yeah. I looked up, 5 minutes left. Oh, I got this. I got this in the bag. So, game's going on. I couldn't get a rebound. Guys weren't missing, rebounds flying all over the place. Guys stealing my rebound. So I look up. I think I have 45 seconds left. And I'm just thinking, I think we had a timeout. We come back out, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to get this rebound? So I'm just like, okay, throw it off my backboard. Go get it, right? I'm thinking I just automatically go to the park. I'm like 20 years old, 22 years old. I'm very young, and I'm just like, I could throw it off the backboard, get my own rebound, and I got my triple-double. And great thought, but, I tried it. I went up, tried it, and as soon as I tried it, guy fouled me super hard, and I was just like, uh-oh, I don't think that was the right move. But I got my triple-double the first few days, but they ended up taking it about a week later. Yeah, so that's the story on the triple-double. 5 games short of a triple-double, but I was going to get it that 5th game. So I tell the kids, I've been chasing triple-doubles, man. I was a triple-double starter.
So when you did that, I know I think it was Deshaun Stevenson. Is he the one that fouled you?
Yeah, that was Deshaun, yeah.
It was kind of a hard foul.
Yeah, it was really hard, yeah. It was really hard. I mean, they were looking like, what the hell? They were kind of thinking I was kind of embarrassing them, but I was actually just in my own little world.
Mm-hmm. What did your teammates say about it back then?
They laughed. They just laughed. They just was just like, and they just laughed. It was just hilarious.
Can you imagine if this would have happened now with social media, how much this thing would have been blown up, more than what it was back then?
Yeah. I mean, they did it. Greek Freak did it, and right off the backboard and did it, and nobody said nothing.
Yeah.
That's true. He did. I forgot about that.
I think it was a week later. Bobby Sura did it right after me. They never said anything. Yeah.
Was he with the Cavs when he did that, or was that with the when he got with the Rockets?
Team. I forgot what team he was with. Yep. A week or two later, Bobby Sura did the same thing.
Man.
Wow.
You say that, Ricky, and I totally forgot he did that, but you're right, he did.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of Jerry Sloan's comments at the time? I'm sure you've heard of them.
Yeah, I heard them.
He shot at the wrong basket. And he was trying to embarrass somebody by doing that. Deshaun fouled him. I would have fouled him too. I'd have knocked him on his ass. If you try to embarrass a team after a 20-point lead, you're goddamn right. I'd knock him down. When you got a 20-point lead on the team, you try to embarrass them like that. And this is not schoolyard basketball. These guys are getting paid. I was glad Deshaun tried to knock him down. They can put me in jail or whatever they want for saying that, but that's the way it is.
I mean, of course, it's expected. They were on point. They were on point.
Did Paul Silas pull you to the side?
No, he kind of said, he just kind of looked. They were just like, what were you thinking? Like, hello.
And you guys were winning that game. You won the game.
I don't know, was that Paul Silas or John Lucas?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Lucas.
I'll have to look that up.
I think Paul Silas came to the next year.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow, I thought it would have been Paul Silas. You might have been right about that. Mm-hmm. So that would have been like, was that 2003 that happened, right?
That was the year right before LeBron came, I think.
All right.
Okay.
So,
that's when I was on a tear. I think I was 38 points, 35 points. That was a good week.
What does it feel like? What does it feel like to be in a zone like that?
Man, it feels good. It feels kind of unstoppable. Whether they're running plays or it's just kind of like it's like the game is in slow motion. It's like very slow.
We find that fascinating. I know Scott played college baseball, and we played baseball and basketball growing up and everything, but it's different at different levels. But every basketball player that we've asked this question to, they all say the same thing: things slow down, and it's like you're like a horse with blinders on.
Yeah, absolutely. It just slows down. It's like every read is there, and it's just it flows really well.
And then when things start to speed up again, it just happens, and you're like, "Well, what just happened here?" And then all of a sudden, it's very difficult to get back into that groove. Sometimes,
right.
It's easier for others, but then you start thinking about it. You overthink about it, then things spiral the other direction. I mean, it's all up here.
Absolutely, you get to worry about the call, get to talking to referees. It just
yep,
easily distracted. So. But when you're in that zone, sometimes you don't get distracted. It just, like you say, it's like baseball. I used to play baseball, and it was like that ball coming down there. It was just in slow motion. It's moving very fast, but it didn't scare me because it felt like it was in slow motion.
Right. And which, going back to what you're talking about, with Jordan, I mean, how he could stay in the zone that long where he's playing golf. He's going out doing whatever he's doing at the casino, getting 4 hours sleep and doing this, and he's still locked in. I mean, just unreal.
50 and he'll get 55 and he'll just, it's just, it's just like he takes over the game. And I've just never seen nobody take over the game like that. I've seen LeBron take over the game, passing, getting his teammates involved, of course. Right. Never just like basket after basket after basket after basket. Right. After you just can't stop him.
Right.
I think the big thing real quick here when you talk about that, Ricky, is LeBron, his most famous in the zone moment was at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Detroit, when in 2007, when he scored those 20 some consecutive points in the fourth quarter, the Cavs with the Pistons, and then went to the finals that year. I think that was 2007, right? That was his big coming out party moment, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jordan did Kobe did it. I mean,
Yeah.
Kobe did it his last game of his career when he's dropped all those points and
Right.
you know.
And it's like that though, but it's like when LeBron did that in Auburn Hills, but every year he does that, you know.
Yeah.
That if every year he did that consecutively every year, he would be my GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like 1 year here, maybe not, then 1 year here. But Jordan was consecutively every year 50s, 40s, 50s, 40s.
That's true.
I've never seen nobody score 36 points a game a year. Him and AI is just
one of my favorite NBA stat questions is, I think it might have been Jordan's rookie year, or maybe it was his second year. He scored like 3,000 points. He averaged 39 points a game. He only made 11 3-pointers. Now, different time. But think about that. All those points were in the paint, driving to the hoop. That's unbelievable.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, the times haven't changed. Still playing 48 minutes.
Right.
So it's just no threes. I mean, yeah, it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ricky, we're going to get right to it with our rapid fire questions. These will be real easy. They can be one-word answers. You can be as long as you want, short as you want, however you want to do it. So the first question is this: what's your favorite team you played for? When you look at all these teams you played for, we'll go from high school all the way up playing overseas. Looking back.
Miami.
Favorite jersey you wore as a player, not necessarily the Heat jersey, but the design of the jersey.
Probably the Charlotte Hornets jersey back in the day.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Did you have a favorite restaurant in Cleveland that you would frequent when you were here?
What was the name? It was a breakfast shop I always went to almost every day in the downtown. I don't even know if it was there. I don't think it's there anymore though. I forgot the name. Got the name of that.
Favorite Cavs teammate? It could be two.
And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but we'd like you to, but you don't have to.
I got two. Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Jermaine Jones.
Jermaine Jones.
Wow.
Jermaine Jones had that sneaky perimeter corner three.
Yes. Deadly corner three. Yeah. Yes.
Is there a show you're streaming now that's your go-to show? I mean, you probably don't have time with
the kids.
everything.
Yeah, the kids.
Other than family and basketball, do you even have time for a favorite hobby or something that we don't know about you?
I love to cook.
Really?
Yes.
Anything specific?
Yeah, give us some dishes here. We're getting hungry.
I just say pick a country, and I'll take you there.
Wow.
So is that what you do with your kids? Like after school? Okay, hey, what country you want to go to? I'll whip something up.
I'll take you there. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good. Anything. I mean, from the pastas to anything, I can cook it.
Steak, chicken, pork.
I actually had a live-in chef for like 8 years, and just watching him, cook and use his ingredients and all that stuff. So now it's weird because now I'm a vegan now, not raw vegan anymore, but I'm a vegan now. So, but my kids and my wife's not. So I'm cooking 2 meals per night some days. So
what made you go vegan? I'm just curious.
Actually, I started doing diabetes research through my foundation and realized that the diseases are in the food. There's no such thing as genetics, or as you inheriting what's the word I'm looking for? There's no such
genetic.
Yeah. There's if you got diabetes, your son shouldn't have diabetes. It's actually what you're eating. We're inheriting the same diet and the same foods, but I've realized it was in the food. It was in the food. It was in the water.
Well, that sounds like a deep topic that is very interesting.
I went vegan went raw vegan to stay away from all those prostate cancers, diabetes, and my father has diabetes. My grandmother had diabetes, so I started researching it and figuring it out where you get the sugar and where you get the compromising of your mucous membrane, and figured out where it was from.
Yeah, it sounds like you went down a rabbit hole one day, and
Yep. I went down there, and it was just through the foundation, just doing research here and research there, and just finding out like, whoa, wait a minute, and just researching medicine and herbs and different things they call weeds and stuff that are really healthy for you. And for one, just dandelions, for a long time we thought dandelions are weeds, right? But they're one of the best health properties out there, and that's just one thing but it's a long story.
Ricky, I just tried dandelion coffee, by the way.
Oh wow,
which it actually is pretty good. I'm like, what is this going to taste like? It actually was not bad.
There you go.
Go ahead, John.
So it's funny you bring up dandelions, because I have a 2-part dandelion story, just so random. I just cut the grass yesterday and it rained overnight. And then all these dandelions popped up in my yard that weren't there yesterday. So what you're saying is I should harvest them.
Absolutely.
And then the second dandelion story, I saw a video on Facebook of some organic farmer doing what you're talking about. He kept saying how dandelions are really good. You take the head of the dandelion, and he's like, you could do a lot of different things, make a tea out of it. He deep fried or pan fried a dandelion, ate it as a snack. Probably not the healthiest thing if you're frying it, but people do it. I was mind blown.
And they're good with soup and tea, and you chop up that root, soak it up, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Neat stuff. Do you have a favorite NBA moment as a player?
Being drafted. Ooh. Yep, that was my dream.
Love that.
I know we talked about your favorite teams to watch now, but other than basketball, do you have a favorite sports team or sport you like to watch when you do have free time? I know you said you played baseball growing up. Is it baseball? Are you a football guy?
Yeah, I'm watching all of them, baseball, football. My middle son now, he's actually at DeMatha High School. He plays football and got a Division I scholarship for football at Maryland. So he played football. I played football. I played baseball, track, basketball, and football. So I did all 4 sports myself. So watching him watch football, being offensive tackle now. So I'm really into the football stuff now. And
what position do you play in baseball when you played?
Pitcher and quarterback.
Wow.
Yep. I had that cannon. Yep. Yes, sir.
Could you still play?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny because not a lot of basketball.
I don't know about pitching, but I definitely could go to shortstop.
Yeah. You could still hit?
Not that fastball. That slow down thing is gone for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for baseball, I think I lost it like my junior year where I stopped playing baseball that summer to actually go play in the Nike Adidas camps because I was actually missing it playing baseball. So when I came back my senior year, it was just I didn't have that slow motion anymore. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of NBA players aren't very good at basketball or baseball, excuse me. Like LeBron. Have you seen LeBron swing a baseball bat before?
No, I haven't.
So when he first got drafted, they had him at like then Jacobs Field right next door to then Gund Arena, and the Indians had him out there, in the cage taking some swings, and it was brutally ugly.
It was ugly.
It was not. Scott, you remember that?
Yeah, it was ugly.
Someone so athletic and he couldn't. It was just so funny. Hey, he's human after all. But
yeah, exactly. Hey, Ricky, one quick. Go ahead, Nate. John.
Go ahead, Scott.
One quick question, and this isn't a rapid fire question, but you're a coach now. Is that something you always wanted to do?
Yeah. After playing, I did. Yeah. I realized I wanted to coach, just start working out my boys and, just having the knowledge of the game and kind of seeing now the coaching in slow motion. That kind of excited me, about coaching and went to those NBA programs, coaching programs and leadership programs, kind of realized where I did want to coach.
And one last thing before we wrap it up. This isn't a rapid fire, but you mentioned at the top of our conversation with you about your foundation, the UBL, and you sent me a PDF about it, and I was reading it. It's fascinating what you're doing with it. Can you just talk a little bit more about what you're doing with this foundation and how people can get involved?
Yeah. So now my foundation is the Ricky Davis Legacy Foundation. That's my foundation. That UBL there, that's the new basketball league that we're starting.
That's right.
Yeah. So the Ricky Davis Legacy Foundation is basically my foundation that does underserved programs and initiatives. During COVID, we fed over 500,000 people during COVID. So that's the foundation. But the UBL Basketball League is the minor league basketball that we're starting here in the United States. I seen an area where it kind of needed, some help and something to kind of step in, which was the minor league area. Our plan is to be the minor leagues under the G League and the NBA, which we would create basically different tiers here domestically in the United States, giving guys opportunity to play. It's 500,000 high school kids that play. It's 18,000 college guys that play every year, and 60 go to the NBA and 60 go to the G League. And there's nowhere for us, for these other players to go. So we want to create those different tiers like baseball, where you have 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, then the MLB, and same with soccer. So we want to create those opportunities here in domestically in the States where guys don't have to go running overseas or basically just in their career, after their college career, just in their career, because there's nowhere for them to play domestically. It's two different types of tiers that we're starting, two different leagues. Our first league is basically our showcase league, is our development league. That's the 18 through 28 with little or light professional experience. That starts in September and it goes through November. We wanted to stay away from holidays, and we wanted to basically stay away from any. We'll be starting during the NBA stuff, but kind of ending right before that. Our spring league is our next league, which is our professional league. So basically, we have a development league that we want guys domestically out of high school or college to play in that league to be able to then catapult up to the next professional league, which starts in February and ends in May, right before the NBA season ends. Guys can still go up to the G League or be able to get ready for the summer league coming there. And not also be the development league in different tiers for young athletes, but transitional league for us NBA players. Current players having a transitional league for us to have basically the business and operations of basketball, being presidents, coaches, GMs, scouts, referees, anything you can think of, to kind of get that experience to be able to now have go from playing straight to coaching, straight to president, straight to GM. Now, hopefully go to the G League or the NBA will be our next step. So we're starting that. It's coming up soon. People can go look at the website, the UBL.com, and to get more information on, how to play, how to sign up, and what the league is all about.
That's awesome. Giving back and starting up. And that's something we haven't seen before at the basketball level like that.
Absolutely. And the catch to it is, we want to build these teams around the fan and the community. So we'll be the first league to actually open it up for fan engagement, for fans to invest into the league, kind of like the professional volleyball league started, where they had fans investing into the league. And that's what we're going to do for the basketball league too. So they'll bringing alike ambassadors, alike pros in their like communities, building up that fan base where fans and community can buy into the league to get a return on their investment.
Will this be broadcasted anywhere, or is that kind of in the works?
Yeah, we're working on broadcasting now. streaming, broadcasting, working on that as we speak.
Well, that's awesome. Good to hear from that perspective of giving back in multiple ways. You're teaching kids in high school at the basketball level. Now you're expanding that out from high school to a national audience as well, Ricky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my brother and I always talk about having a sense of purpose in life, and it seems like you have that sense of purpose on multiple levels with multiple streams of creativity and things that you're working on. And we want to thank you so much for being with us here. I know that we went 55 minutes, but it was all great stuff talking with you. We want to wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors. Give our best to your family, your kids, and just enjoy the weather and have a great spring and a great summer. And we hope to talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate you guys for having me on and just having this opportunity to talk to you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time, Ricky. You can follow Ricky on Twitter, at Instagram at Tricky12. You can also follow your Ricky Davis Foundation on Twitter at Legacy_Ricky. And the UBL website, is that just the UBL.org?
Yeah, UBL and the official UBL at Instagram.
Awesome. Well, check out Ricky there. And thank you for tuning in, everyone, to this latest edition of Sabol Brothers on the Baseline Podcast. As always, you can follow yours truly at John_Sabol and follow the pod at Sabol Brothers.
That's right. You can follow me on Scott Sabol, FOX8, Scott Sabol Pics on Instagram. Want to thank everybody. Ricky, thanks again. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon. And have a great day, everybody.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.